Good morning everyone, you're all very welcome to this another of our online assemblies. I hope you're all keeping safe and I hope you're all keeping well. We're still living in lockdown, so it is important that we continue to adhere to those COVID-19 rules, keeping safe distances apart, wearing face coverings if we're in a public place, washing our hands regularly and for at least 20 seconds, and avoiding contact with people who don't belong to our family bubble. Simple rules, but if we all do our little bit, and our own little bit, that'll help prevent the spread of COVID in Dungannon and indeed the surrounding areas. Thank you to everybody who is adhering to those rules. Thanks also to everyone who has completed and submitted the classwork that has been set by your class teacher. It is important to complete your work every day and to submit it every day. If you don't have access to the internet, please do remember to pop your work in the post, and your teacher will receive that on Monday or Tuesday and will be able to provide you with some feedback. Wednesday the 27th of January was a very important day. It was actually Holocaust Memorial Day. And that day is set aside every year for people across the world to remember the millions of Jews who died during the Holocaust. In fact, over 6 million Jews died. Those people were persecuted, they were tortured, they were sent to concentration camps, they had to work long hours, and as I say, over 6 million of them died as a result. But there were also some survivors, and if we think about those survivors who were living in horrendous conditions, the easiest thing for them to do would have been just to give up. But many of them didn't. Some saw light at the end of the tunnel. And today's theme is really about if at first you don't succeed, try and try again. And whenever we're engaged in our learning, sometimes we're presented with concepts which are a wee bit tricky. Sometimes they're a bit difficult to understand. And again, the easiest thing for us to do is to give up. Maybe we're trying to develop some sporting skills, football skills, netball skills. Maybe we're trying to learn to play the piano or a flute or cornet or whatever it happens to be. And at the beginning, it's difficult. And the easiest thing to do is to give up. But what we're hoping to try and encourage you to do is to never give up. Because practice makes perfect. And the more we practice at something, the better we will become. The more we revise and learn our tables, or the more we revise and learn our spellings, the better we will become. So Matthew's going to talk a little bit more about that a little later on. But before that, we will sing our assembly song.
When they go around me, then they go boom. morning, boys and girls. I hope you are all well. I wonder, boys and girls, if you ever forget anything. We know that because you're not in school, you maybe don't have your teachers reminding you to do something all the time, and so maybe you have a homework diary or somewhere where you write things so that you don't forget them. Well, I forget things all the time, and I have lots of different books that I write things in. The first place that I would write my things in, this is an old one, I don't use it anymore, but this is called a diary. And boys and girls, it has all the dates of this year. This one's from 2016, so it's ages and ages ago. But boys and girls, my problem was that it was so big, I didn't carry it round anywhere. So even though I was supposed to write things in, there used to be pages like this that are pretty much completely blank, and there's nothing on them just because I forgot even to write the things down. So this book was pretty much useless. And then, boys and girls, I moved on to something smaller. I used something like this, and this has been helpful because I have been able to write things down, but I always forget where I put it because it's so small. I lose it in my pockets, I lose it in my car, and then I never know what it was that I was supposed to remember. And then, boys and girls, I moved on to something like this. I think I've showed you it before as I threw my pen across the room, but this is a slightly more helpful because I have decided to line the dates with it, and I'm able to colour stuff in, and sometimes I remember to put things in it. But boys and girls, what I found the most helpful to write things down on are these. And I'm sure, boys and girls, you maybe have these in your house. Maybe you saw your teachers using these whenever you were in school. Or maybe you see your mum and dad for shopping lists. And you know what they are? They're called Post-it notes. And what's great about these, boys and girls, is you can write a little note to yourself on them. And then all you have to do is tear it off and stick it somewhere that you'll remember. So I maybe put these on my desk, I put them on the front door so that before I'm leaving I remember to do something. Maybe I even put it on my own head so that I can remember something whenever I look in the mirror, or I can always feel it there. But these are great. But you know what's interesting about Post-it notes, boys and girls? Is that whenever the person who was inventing Post-it notes invented them, people said that he had failed. Because he wasn't supposed to be making Post-it notes. The man who made Post-it notes was trying to make some sellotape. And boys and girls, we know that Post-it notes aren't very good at sellotape because it doesn't stick for very long. But these Post-it notes became so successful that the inventor actually, even though he failed, managed to succeed. You know, boys and girls, people said that he failed, and he thought he failed, but he tried and he tried and he tried again until he came up with a great idea like Post-it notes. He just had to figure out what exactly they were going to be used for. And that reminds me of something that the Bible tells us in a book called Luke. Because in Luke, the fishermen, the disciples, Jesus' disciples were fishing. And they had been fishing all day and all night, and they had caught nothing. And then whenever they looked to the beach, they were going to sail back in, Jesus shouted out to them, "Put your nets on the other side of the boat." And so the fishermen, even though they'd tried so many different things, they decided instead of giving up, they were going to try and try again, because that is what Jesus told them to do. And so they put their nets on the other side, and before they knew it, even though only minutes before there seemed to be no fish, as they put their nets where Jesus told them to, their boat almost sunk because of how many fish they managed to catch. Boys and girls, sometimes we think we should give up as well. Sometimes we think that it's better just to give up and not try anymore. But you know what, boys and girls? If we are doing things right, if we are doing things God's way, if we are trying hard to do the right thing, the Bible tells us we should keep trying. Even if we've failed the first time, even if we've failed the second time, we should keep trying to do good things and keep trying to do the right thing. Boys and girls, you never know what could happen if you keep trying and keep trying. Maybe you could come up with something amazing like the Post-it note, or maybe you could just make a difference in one person's life. Boys and girls, keep trying and never give up. I'll see you next time, boys and girls.
Have a hip hop happy birthday. Have a hip hop happy birthday. With miles of smiles and lots of love on this special day. Have a hip down, and oh, my soul so weary. When troubles come and my heart burdened be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. Stormy seas, I am strong when I am on your shoulder.
He's the one who makes the sun shine. He's the one who puts the moon in the sky. He's the one who hung the stars one by one. He's the one who makes the birds sing. He's the one who makes your dreams so high. He's the one who makes me smile. Day by day, Jesus.
So that brings us to the end of our assembly this morning. Thanks to Matthew for recording his message and sharing with us this morning. I ask you all to continue to hand in your schoolwork via Google Classroom or pop it in the post, and your teachers will receive that on Monday morning. Until then, have a super weekend, have a safe weekend, and I'll talk to you all again next Friday. Until then, take care.
Bye bye, goodbye.